This is a good discussion, all right? And here is the issue. Ted, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Is every American entitled, and I underlined that word, to health care as a right of being an American? Yes or no?
You know, I'm glad you asked that. You know, right is a word you use a lot. Let's talk about what rights are. Rights mean you have a right for government not to mess with you, for government not to do things with you. If you look at the Bill of Rights, the Bill of Rights, free speech means the government can't silence you when you're speaking. Religious liberty means the government can't control who you worship, what your faith is. The Second Amendment means the government can't take away your guns. Those are rights. You know what the Declaration of Independence said? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So what is a right? Is access to health care. What is a right is choosing your own doctor. And if you believe health care is a right, why on earth did you help write Obamacare that caused 6 million people to have their health insurance canceled, that had them lose their doctors, and have people like LaRonda who can't get health insurance, can't afford premiums? You're denying her what you say is her right.
Well, two things. You didn't answer question, although I interpret your question to be that LaRonda does not have a right.
No, that's not what I said. What I said is
I heard the Bill of Rights. I got the Bill of Rights.
Health care is a right.
She has access, but she doesn't have enough money.
You don't own this space. You're not entitled to this space. You're not entitled to just come, spew hate, create violent rhetoric, and make the campus unsafe and uncomfortable. Our media, Our media has adopted a practice of not displaying or talking about criminal names, about people who perpetuate terror and trauma on American citizens.
All right.
We don't even mention their names or show their faces in the media when they do horrible things.
Right.
Why do you think it's okay to provide a space and a platform in your position to people that we have already expressed are here violently?
Can I answer
terrorizing
that? You're asking me a question
us.
I would like to answer.
Go ahead.
If I did not get their voice as well as your voices, then that would be bias.
Kill! Kyle! Kyle! Kill! Kill! Cut the shit! Cut it out!
Traumatized this week, the little darlings. They entered the quad to see this. Avert your eyes if you're sensitive. It says Trump 2016 written in chalk in rather well-styled font, I think. The graffiti inspired a campus-wide protest during which some students confessed the artwork made them fear for their very lives. The president of the university later issued a statement saying, amongst other things, quote, "It is important that we recognize, listen to, and honor the concerns of these students, as well as faculty and staff who may feel similarly." End quote.
Bernie acknowledged that 6.5 million Americans are paying Obamacare tax fines because they can't afford insurance. So they can't afford health insurance, and then the IRS comes in and fines them. And he says, gosh, I don't agree with that. And yet throughout the Democratic debate, Bernie says he helped write Obamacare that imposes these fines on people. I think it's wrong to be fining people. But let me make a broader point on taxes, which is many times in this debate, Bernie has talked about providing health care for free from the government. You know what? The simplest principle in economics is Tonstoffel. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. The liberal-leaning Urban Institute scored Bernie's health plan, concluded it would cost $2.5 trillion in the first year and $32 trillion over 10 years. Now, how much is that? Trillions is a big number. It's not clear what that is. Let me put it in perspective. All of the federal income taxes we pay today are about $1.5 trillion a year. $2.5 trillion means every one of us paying income taxes would have to about triple what you pay in income taxes to get an additional $2.5 trillion. Now, Bernie, no doubt, is going to come back and say, no, 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 no. None of you are going to pay. Just the rich. Well, how about if we took every person that makes over $1 million a year and confiscated 100% of their income, took every penny that they make? That would raise only enough money to fund Bernie's plan for 5 months. Here's another idea. How about if the government confiscated the assets of Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and ExxonMobil? If it came in, illegally seized those companies and sold them, that would pay for 1 year of Bernie's plan. If you don't want to see your tax triple, in addition to the wait list, in addition to the rationing, in addition to fewer MRIs and mammograms to worse care, then you don't want to see Bernie's Medicaid for all. You want to see cheap, affordable health care that you can choose that puts you in control.
He's going to tax you people at 90%. He's going to take everything. And nobody's heard the term communist. But you know what? I call him a social communist, okay? Because that's what he is.
It is our duty to win! It is our duty to win! We must love and support each other! We must love and support each other! We have nothing to lose but our change! We have nothing to lose but our change! It is our duty to fight for our freedom! It is our duty to fight for our freedom! It is our duty to win! It is our duty to win!
Systematic oppression is. Systematic oppression is because you don't believe that you have the equal opportunity for success.
You don't believe
Money. Step back.
Did you just blame us for systematic oppression, Tim Wolf?
I mean, and let me give, since you laughed at that, let's actually talk facts, because facts matter. Yeah. So let's talk about, for example, a couple of stories from the United Kingdom. In Glasgow, Scotland, the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital was so overburdened this past January, it turned away 3 women who were in labor because they couldn't take care of them. In Worcester, England, a man was left on an ambulance gurney for 5 hours before his heart attack was diagnosed, and he waited 7 hours before he received a stent and angioplasty. In a hospital in Essex, doctors twice canceled a potential life-saving surgery for a patient with esophageal cancer because there were no free beds in the intensive care unit. One more example in Wales. An 82-year-old woman who had fallen waited 8 hours on the floor before an ambulance arrived. Her daughter sat beside her in the ordeal, described it as one of the longest nights of our life. This is what happened when government takes over health care. Every example on earth. The result is rationing and waiting periods, and you, the citizens, being told, no, you can't have the health care you want and deserve.
Hello, darling.
Sir, please,
do you need some
sir,
help?
Sir,
do you
please.
Need some help?
Sir, please.
We'd like to ask you to please.
Sir, please.
Can we ask you to stop, please?
Sir. Sir.
And in America, we do rationing in a different way, Ted. The way we do rationing is...
What they're trying to do right now is they're grabbing Trump supporters and then they're pulling them back and beating the shit out of them at the back there because they're fucking cowards and they need 10 of them. Actually, no, like 30 of them versus one of us.
You're just very beautiful stage dressing for me. If you weren't such an obnoxious cunt, I'd hit on you.
My question is this. I'm a business owner, and we just keep getting kicked in the teeth by this administration. It's regulation after regulation and tax upon tax. What Donald Trump does understand is the complexities of business and, to reward the person who takes the risk. So really, my question is, this country was founded on entrepreneurship. Why is this administration so against the business owner? Please tell me.
I don't think this administration, the Obama administration you're referring to, is so against the business owners. When you talk about tax increases, Obama did. I don't know your income, and I'm not concerned about your income. Obama did raise taxes on the top. Excuse me. He raised taxes on the top 1 or 2%. And you know what? I would have gone further. I think the wealthiest people in this country are doing phenomenally well. 52% of all new income generated today goes to the top 1%. So you and I may have a difference. But yeah, I do believe that billionaires and multimillionaires should be paying more in taxes.
I'm a business owner. I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm not a billionaire. Okay? I mean, you haven't lived until you put a payroll on your credit card. I mean, this is the reality of the backbone of this country.
Laura, is that a live band performing in the middle of this? Is that what's happening, or is it somebody's boombox?
I think it's a sound system of some sort. I do not see a band.
This is war. That's what the sign says, and they certainly conducted it as if it was tonight.